There's a reason your fuel bill keeps climbing up, and it's not just rising gas prices. Something is happening at the pump that quietly drains drivers of over $2 billion every year, and most people don't realize it. Today, we're revealing 15 fuel-saving secrets. Secret 15, the fast pump method. When you pull up to the pump and squeeze the handle all the way down, fuel meter tests show that fast pumping can reduce the real fuel delivered by 2 to 6%. Depending on pump age and temperature, equal to losing an entire tank every year without noticing. But slowing down the pump changes everything. Vapor pockets shrink, the meter becomes more accurate, and you get closer to what you're actually paying for. NIST calibration technicians confirm that slower dispensing consistently provides the most precise readings due to reduced aeration, and it only adds about 20 to 30 seconds to your fill-up. And if you think losing fuel at the pump is bad, the next one loses you fuel and millions of drivers fall for it. Secret 14, the fuel cap trick. Most drivers never think about their gas cap. Yet, it's one of the biggest hidden reasons fuel economy drops and one of the most common vehicle problems on the road. Nearly 1 in 5 cars on the road needs a new gas cap. However, because it's one of those parts we often overlook, most drivers tend to ignore it. A loose, cracked, or worn gas cap allows fuel vapors to escape, and your evaporative emission system must compensate by richening the fuel mixture. Even a minor leak can trigger the evap monitor to run more often, increasing fuel consumption by up to 2 to 3%. What makes this worse is how common it is. According to the Department of Transportation, you could lose 30 gallons per year from fuel vapors escaping a loose gas cap. Because the gas cap is a critical part of the evaporative emission control system, your car will always throw a code when it's loose. Codes like P0457, 9 out of 10 times the problem is the gas cap. A simple twist until it clicks, or replacing a worn gasket can instantly restore efficiency. Inspect the body, the neck, and the rubber ring inside. If any of these are cracked or missing chunks, especially the rubber ring, you need a replacement. This next one is a driving habit everyone is doing, not knowing it wastes fuel. Secret 13, the 5-second acceleration rule. Most Americans accelerate like they're launching a rocket. They floor it off the line, race to the speed limit, and then slam the brakes at the next light. This is the single biggest fuel waster in your driving routine. Here's the data. Aggressive acceleration burns up to 33% more fuel than gentle acceleration. That's according to the US Department of Energy. 1/3 of your fuel is gone just because you wanted to get to the red light faster. Think about that for a second. You're literally paying extra money to wait at the same traffic light as everyone else. The solution is stupidly simple. Take a full 5 seconds to reach 20 miles per hour from a stop. Japanese eco-driving, a government-backed initiative since 2003, documented fuel savings of 20 to 30% across millions of drivers using this exact method. The Japanese government tested this across 10,000 drivers. Average fuel improvement from this single change was 11%. At current gas prices, that's roughly $25 a month back in your pocket from one technique. Japanese driving schools have all built their driver training programs around this principle. Yet in America, we're still hammering the gas and wondering why our wallets are empty. And speaking of the pump, the next one will make you drive away from certain stations. Secret 12, the fuel truck scam. If you've ever pulled into a station and seen a massive tanker truck parked beside the pumps, here's the truth. You should drive away immediately. Most drivers don't realize this, but the moment a delivery truck is filling the underground tanks, the fuel you buy becomes some of the dirtiest, least efficient gasoline you'll ever put in your car. Here's why. Underground tanks store thousands of gallons of fuel, and over time, sediment settles at the bottom. Rust, dirt, ethanol residue, even microscopic metal flakes. When the tanker pumps in fresh fuel, it churns all that debris violently. According to petroleum engineers, the agitation can increase tank sediment levels by up to 400% for several hours. And if you fill up during that window, that contaminated mixture goes straight into your tank, reducing fuel quality and hurting MPG. Dirty fuel forces your engine to burn less efficiently, making your car run richer and decreasing mileage. In some vehicles, especially older ones, it can even clog injectors or stress the fuel pump. You end up paying full price for fuel that delivers less power and causes more wear. But if protecting your engine and saving MPG matters, you should always avoid filling up when the tanker is present. Even waiting just a few hours makes a massive difference in fuel quality. Next up is a part almost every driver ignores. Secret 11, the dirty air filter connection. Most drivers think of the air filter as a small, cheap part, with almost no impact on fuel economy. But that's exactly why gas stations never talk about it. When every car had a carburetor, it was common knowledge that a dirty air filter negatively impacted fuel economy. Low air supply meant that more fuel was being wasted due to improper combustion. A clogged air filter forces your engine to work harder, burning more fuel just to maintain normal power. According to the US Department of Energy, a severely dirty air filter can drop fuel economy by up to 10%, especially in older vehicles that rely heavily on airflow for proper combustion. Many drivers go 20,000 to 30,000 miles without checking their filter. Even though dust, pollen, and road debris accumulate much faster in city and highway traffic, when airflow is restricted, your engine enriches the fuel mixture to compensate. That means more fuel, less mileage, and unnecessary strain on the spark plugs, oxygen sensors, and catalytic converter. Over time, it causes carbon buildup, which also affects fuel economy and engine longevity. The fix takes less than a minute. Pull it out, hold it to the sun, and if you can't see light through it, replace it. Gas stations benefit from this because every mile you drive with a choked filter burns more fuel than your engine actually needs. Now we're moving to a driving technique that saves big. Secret 10, the anticipation driving method. This is where it gets interesting. Most drivers focus only on the car directly in front of them, reacting at the last second to brake lights and traffic changes. But here's what gas stations don't want you to know. Japanese drivers are trained to look 12 to 15 seconds ahead, not just at the bumper in front. If you see a red light 3 blocks up, start coasting now. If you notice brake lights cascading through traffic ahead, lift off the gas immediately. The goal is to never use your brakes unless absolutely necessary. Every time you brake, you're throwing away momentum that you paid for with fuel. It's like burning money and then throwing the ashes out the window. One study from the Eco Driving Promotion Network in Japan found that anticipation driving alone reduced fuel consumption by 8 to 12% in city driving. Research by MIT shows that aggressive driving lowers gas mileage by 15 to 30% on the highway and 10 to 40% in stop-and-go traffic. A Japanese taxi company implemented anticipation driving across their entire fleet of 500 vehicles. Annual fuel savings were $1.2 million. Same cars, same routes, same drivers, just a different approach. And here's another reality check. Switching lanes is grossly inefficient. You think that lane is quicker? That's just FOMO. The smartest drivers save fuel by planning ahead, not racing ahead. If you're getting great information from this video about fuel savings, hit the like button and stay locked in. We're halfway through. Secret 9, the early fuel myth. You've probably heard the old advice. Fill up early in the morning when the fuel is cooler. It's one of the most common fuel-saving myths, and gas stations benefit every time people misunderstand how it works. The truth is, modern underground tanks hold fuel at a stable temperature year-round. Whether it's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., the gasoline sitting 10 feet below ground only fluctuates by 1 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Nowhere near enough to give you a measurable savings. So, no morning fuel doesn't magically give you more gas per gallon. But here's the part gas stations don't want you to know. While temperature barely changes throughout the day, seasonal fuel blends do. In summer, fuel is formulated with lower volatility to prevent evaporation. In winter, it's blended to ignite more easily, but that winter blend contains less energy per gallon, causing a natural 1 to 3 miles per gallon drop for most drivers. So, while the morning myth is mostly false, the energy difference between seasonal blends is very real. And gas stations never mention it because it exposes why your mileage mysteriously rises and falls every few months. Understanding this puts you ahead of the average driver who thinks it's just their driving habits. And wait until you learn what's under your car right now. Secret 8, the tire pressure truth. If you want an instant boost in fuel economy, forget additives. Start with your tires. Most people wait until the tire pressure monitoring system light comes on before they inflate their tires. But by this point, you could have lost hundreds of dollars worth of fuel. Why? Because most people are unaware of how the TPMS works. The TPMS only activates when the PSI is 25% less than the recommended level. For a regular car, that means the tire would have lost about 8 PSI. However, research by the Department of Energy and the Environmental Protection Agency shows that for every 1 PSI drop in all 4 tires, fuel economy is reduced by 0.2%. So, with an 8 PSI reduction, that's a 1.6% drop in efficiency. Furthermore, A National Highway Traffic Safety Administration survey found that only 19% of all drivers had all 4 tires correctly inflated. Here's where the real secret comes in. The number on your driver's door frame isn't designed for fuel efficiency. It's based on comfort and stability for a fully loaded vehicle. Most people drive alone or with one passenger, meaning your ideal pressure is often a few psi higher than the door jam recommendation. That slight increase reduces rolling resistance, improves tire wear, and boosts MPG instantly. Check your tires monthly, especially during temperature changes. A simple tire gauge costs $5 and can save you hundreds every year. Now we're diving into advanced territory. Secret 7, the pulse and glide method. Now we're getting into techniques most American drivers have never even heard of. Instead of maintaining constant pressure on the accelerator, you pulse up to slightly above your target speed. Then completely release the gas and glide until you drop slightly below it. Repeat. On flat roads, this can improve fuel economy by 15 to 20% compared to steady-state cruising. Why does this work? Your engine is most efficient under load. When you're cruising at a constant speed, your engine is actually operating inefficiently, working just hard enough to overcome air resistance and rolling friction. When you pulse, you're letting the engine work efficiently for a short burst, then coasting for free. Toyota engineers tested this method extensively during the development of the Prius. They found that skilled drivers using pulse and glide could exceed the car's EPA rating by 20 to 40%. One hypermiler in Japan documented 94 miles per gallon in a standard Prius using this technique. The technique requires practice and works best on roads with light traffic. But once mastered, the fuel savings are impossible to ignore. Seriously, who knew the gas pedal had an off position that actually saves money? But if that's too advanced, this next one is hiding at every station. Secret 6, the pump calibration mistake. This one is so subtle that even experienced drivers miss it, but it quietly steals fuel from millions of people every single day. Gas pumps don't stay perfectly accurate forever. Over time, the internal meters drift, hoses wear out, and valves loosen. And here's the uncomfortable truth. A pump that underdispenses fuel by even 1% can legally operate until its next inspection, which may be months away. According to state weights and measures audits, nearly 6 to 10% of pumps fail accuracy tests each year. And the majority of those failures short the customer, not the station. In some states, inspectors have found pumps delivering up to 13 ounces less per gallon. That's almost a full cup of fuel missing, yet you're still paying for it. Older pumps and low-traffic stations are the worst offenders because their components wear more slowly and go unchecked longer. Stations also know that most people never look at the inspection sticker. The best way to protect yourself: avoid pumps with faded, expired, or missing inspection stickers, and stay away from stations where the pumps look old, dirty, or poorly maintained. So, pumps can run imprecise for extended periods without complaints, costing you money with every fill-up. And the next secret is literally on top of your car. Secret 5, the roof rack weight penalty. Ever wondered why new cars no longer come with full-size spare tires? It's not because tires have suddenly become indestructible. They do this because every extra weight reduces fuel economy. Two of the biggest enemies of fuel efficiency are poor aerodynamics and excess weight. Roof racks tick both of these boxes. The same goes for bike carriers and cargo boxes. If you're not using them, get rid of them. According to a study by the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory and NREL, over 100 million gallons of fuel are wasted each year because of empty roof racks. Their research found that per driver, this amounts to a roughly 2 to 5% decrease in fuel economy. However, when driving at 75 miles per hour, crossbars tank fuel economy by 12%. The study also shows that it's better to have items in your trunk than on the roof rack. A loaded roof rack worsens mileage by 10 to 25%. The sneaky part is how easily this extra weight builds up. Old tools, work equipment, sports gear, baby strollers, random boxes. Most of it sits in the trunk for months without being touched. When left on, they add both weight and wind resistance, cutting fuel efficiency by up to 10 to 15%, even when completely empty. If you must use a roof rack, get one with an aerodynamic teardrop design. And seriously, those 5 minutes it takes to remove an empty rack can save you hundreds over a year. Speaking of winter, the next habit is pure waste. Secret 4, the cold start protocol trap. This one surprises everyone. Most Americans warm up their cars by idling for 5 to 10 minutes, especially in winter. This is pure fuel waste. Modern engines do not need extended warm-up periods. Here's the science. Your engine warms up faster under light load than while sitting idle. Idling burns about half a gallon of fuel per hour. Those 10-minute warm-ups, that's nearly a gallon of gas per week gone. Over a year, that's $150 to $200 in wasted fuel just from excessive idling. Modern cars get warm in seconds, even during winter. When it's cold, manufacturers recommend letting the car idle for 30 seconds before you start driving. Start the car, wait 30 seconds, and then drive gently for the first few miles. According to the EPA, idling uses approximately 0.25 to 0.5 gallons of fuel per hour, depending on the engine size. When you're at a traffic light, the EPA recommends switching off your engine if you're going to be there for longer than 10 seconds. Besides burning fuel, idling also causes carbon buildup, corrosion in the exhaust system, and premature engine failure. The Japanese Ministry of Environment calculated that if every driver reduced unnecessary idling by just 5 minutes per day, the country would save 1.4 million kiloliters of fuel annually. Yet most drivers still sit there warming up like it's 1985. Now here's a mistake millions make every day. Secret 3, the premium fuel mistake. Premium fuel sounds like an upgrade, stronger, cleaner, more powerful. But for most drivers, it's one of the most expensive and unnecessary mistakes at the pump. Gas stations love when you choose premium because the profit margin on high-octane fuel can be 20 to 30% higher than regular. But here's the truth. If your car isn't specifically designed for premium, you're burning money, literally. Octane doesn't mean better fuel. It measures resistance to knock, not engine cleanliness or power. According to the American Automobile Association, nearly 16.5 million drivers use premium in vehicles that don't require it, wasting more than $2 billion every year. Engines built for regular gasoline are tuned for a certain combustion pattern. Adding premium doesn't make them stronger. It actually slows combustion slightly, offering zero performance gains and absolutely no MPG improvement. In fact, pouring premium into a regular engine can make it run less efficiently because the burn characteristics no longer match what the ECU is programmed for. No extra power, no better mileage, no cleaner internals, just a higher bill. Premium should only be used when the manufacturer requires it, not when you feel extra careful. Consumer Reports ran extensive testing and confirmed it. That extra $0.85 per gallon could go towards something that actually helps your engine. Make sure you're subscribed, because the final two are absolute game changers. Secret 2, the adaptive cruise control advantage. Every modern car is now equipped with a ton of driver assistance features designed to make driving easier and safer. However, very few people use them. Among those who have the technology, only 27% of drivers regularly use cruise control. A staggering 34% of drivers never use cruise control or adaptive cruise control, which is a huge financial mistake. Recent studies are conclusive that varying your speed, often within a short period of time, decreases fuel economy. For example, changing between 47 miles per hour and 53 miles per hour every 18 seconds can increase fuel consumption by 20%. The same is true of aggressive driving. At highway speeds, rapid acceleration and hard braking can reduce efficiency by as much as 30%. By maintaining a regular speed with cruise control, you can save a decent amount of fuel. Savings are even better with adaptive cruise control as it eliminates hard braking and hard starts. On average, you save 5 to 7% on fuel when using ACC. This adds up when you do a lot of stop and go driving. It is also good for your brakes and your engine. Gas stations never mention this because inconsistent speeds mean more frequent fill-ups. Most modern vehicles already have this technology installed. You're just not using it. And now for the biggest one. Secret 1, the optimal speed sweet spot. Most cars have a speed range where fuel economy peaks, and it's almost never highway speed. Here's something your driver education teacher never told you. For most vehicles, optimal fuel efficiency occurs between 35 and 50 miles per hour. The sweet spot is usually lower than you expect. Above 50 miles per hour, aerodynamic drag increases exponentially. At 65 miles per hour, you're using 15% more fuel than at 55 miles per hour. At 75 miles per hour, you're using 25% more fuel than at 55 miles per hour. For most vehicles, the sweet spot is 45 to 60 miles per hour. At 70 miles per hour, your car can lose up to 15% MPG, and at 80 miles per hour, that penalty can reach 25% or more. It's not the engine, it's the air. Drag multiplies as speed increases, forcing your engine to work dramatically harder. Driving just 5 to 10 miles per hour slower on the highway can save entire gallons over long trips. Japanese highways have lower speed limits than American interstates, and this is part of the reason their average highway speed of 62 miles per hour sits much closer to the efficiency sweet spot than our 75 to 80 miles per hour typical cruise. Gas stations won't mention it because higher speeds burn more fuel and bring you back to the pump faster. But the physics don't lie. Slow down just a little and watch your fuel savings climb. And there you have it. 15 fuel-saving secrets gas stations hoped you never learn. If even one helped you, imagine the savings when you use all of them together. Before you go, hit like, subscribe, and comment which secret shocked you the most. And for even more savings, check out our video on car hacks that you didn't know can save you money.